Peace and blessings, everybody. It's Tuesday, February the 26th, the year 2019. And today I'm going to record an exchange between Anthony Troy Williams, who I believe is an innocent political prisoner targeted for his beliefs and has been incarcerated in a Hawaii federal prison. He's on year of Jubilee. Jubilee is spelled with one E, just like it's spelled in the King James Bible. And you can find his prison mailing address if you want to write him an encouraging letter. And I do encourage you to write to Anthony to let him know that we have not forgotten about him or abandoned him, and that we love him in the Lord. So he is a strong, bold warrior who was fighting for people who were losing their homes, and he was exposing banking and mortgage fraud. And so we've built a webpage with Anthony's information where you can educate yourself about his case. Now, there is some jackals, hyenas, reprobates, dark-souled individuals that are very cowardly. They're sniveling cowards, and they get their pleasure from attacking men and women in prison. They don't have anything else better to do with their life. They just want to feel stronger and have control and power over somebody. So they spend all their time making attacks upon men who are already incarcerated that they believe usually will never see these attacks. They just, band together to, like vultures over somebody who's been hurt and not dead yet. But sometimes I'll send these attacks to the prisoner. I'll let them make up their mind whether they will respond or not. And we're going to record one of those responses today. And let's just get into it. I said, peace and blessings, Anthony. First, I will stop sending you this garbage if you don't want to waste your time. Some prisoners decide not to spend time arguing with these devils, and some prisoners use this as an opportunity. Basically, what I'm trying to tell Anthony is sometimes when somebody's accusing you of all of this negative stuff, you can use that as an opportunity to get the real truth out. I said the problem with these anonymous devils is that they take a large amount of your valuable time, and that is their intention. Anyway, the email below came in from an anonymous devil, and he attacks our ministry and every prisoner that I advocate for. This particular devil, he knows that he's a sniveling coward. He has my public phone number. He never calls me because he doesn't want to reveal his true identity. The first question that I would ask him is, have you ever received money from the United States government or any government institution for the work that you do to slander and defile and defame any prisoner? And it's just like others that get paid to they make their livelihood off of defaming and slandering and infiltrating. Like Bill Fulton wrote a book about Schaefer, and he thinks he's going to continue to work for the FBI. These are traitors of the highest degree. These people would sell out their own grandmother in order to whore out their soul for filthy lucre. But anyway, here's what this guy said about Anthony. He said, I see you have taken up the banner of Anthony Williams. Well, another piss-poor decision, but I guess it's another convict you can exploit for PayPal donations. First of all, I don't exploit any convicts for PayPal donations. We do not ask for donations. If somebody asks me how they can help, I say pick a prisoner that you feel compelled to help and donate to their commissary. But see, the reprobates in this world cannot fathom the fact that my wife and I have devoted our life to helping people with no expectation of financial gain. They don't understand that, and so they've got to somehow rectify that human behavior in their mind, so they always accuse me of exploiting the prisoners for financial gain. I'm telling you that's not true. Let's continue to read this devil's comments. Let's review a few facts about Williams. First, there was never a poll taken as to which jurors in his first trial voted guilty or not guilty. And in the case of a hung jury, those jury vote forms are not made available to either the prosecution nor the defense. So he lied to you there. The devil goes on to say, his second time around, he was found guilty, and never did he get to talk to a juror. But as per usual, you can't keep a good soft sit down. Soft sit is the new domestic terrorist buzzword that the government wants to use. It's just like a Nazi collaborator, or they'll call you a Holocaust denier. As soon as they label you a sov-cit or sovereign citizen, the government will swoop in with the full force of government to destroy you, and the rest of humanity will say, oh, he's just a sovereign citizen, he deserved that. But that's not the way it goes. You can't just label somebody with a word to justify all your violence against them. But that is the case with these devils. They do try to do that along with the Southern Poverty Law Center. So he goes on to say, you can't keep a good sov-cit down. After he received a felony conviction for unlicensed practice of law, he got 22 years probation with the conditions that he could not refer to himself as an attorney in any way. Well, he effed up. He wrote the real word. Well, he effed up that he effed that up. Williams wasn't sitting in jailhouse for a traffic ticket when the feds picked him up. He was serving a 15-year sentence in state prison for grand theft of over $100,000 and 2 counts of filing false documents. See here. And then he gives some link to some BS website with legal jargon. We know how I have lost all faith whatsoever in our criminal justice system. The devil goes on to say, his mug shot shows in the couple vids I have on my channel featuring the punk-ass attorney general. After the feds picked him up, and they had been keeping tabs on him since before his first trial, he was charged with multiple counts of mail and bank fraud in the District of Hawaii. It sounds very similar to the charges they brought against Kurt Johnson. Now read closely. Do not ever take Williams' advice on mortgage issues. The only mortgage fraud he ever exposed was the ones he was committing. He's never won a court case, ever, and never will, because he has an abysmal knowledge of the law. Also, never file anything he sends you with anyone. If you do, you may end up in a jail cell next to him. Behind Williams is a sad trail. I think he wrote trial, but he doesn't know how to spell. A sad trail, but he wrote trial, of homeowners who have trusted his BS, he writes bullshit, and lost everything because of him. His case was indeed continued to next year, but not because of the government. Another lie he told you, but due to the request of the co-defendants, one being his own mother, whom he roped in his scams, and that's because several months ago the government introduced another 2 terabytes of data into discovery. Think about that. His mother may well die in prison because of his actions. Another fine scumbag you have found. So this is the devil attacking. Oh shoot! I got a. Oh, it was a phone call from a prisoner, but it didn't stay on, so I had to hang up. So anyway, he continues to attack Anthony, and it's just like when they attack Ken Hovind. They say, well, Ken Hovind is responsible for putting his first wife, JoJo, in prison. And I would violently refute that. Ken Hovind didn't put JoJo in prison. The government, the corrupt government, is the one who did that. And so they always like to mislabel blame. But let's go on to read Anthony's response. And he wrote this on 2/25, so that would be yesterday. Here's what Anthony has to say in response to the devil. I appreciate that you continue to send me whatever these devils send, because it is very comical how they think that by lying that it will somehow change the outcome or change whether I continue to fight and come after them. Now to give you the real facts. Number 1, the person that sent you this email is obviously one of the prosecutors either in Florida or here in Hawaii. And the reason I know this is because who would know if the jury was polled or not? Now, while this particular devil may be a prosecutor or not, I highly suspect that he is working with agents of the FBI that have contacts in the Department of Justice, and they have an agenda in America to label dissidents as sovereign citizens and kill them, incarcerate them, or slander them. So then Anthony goes on to point number 2. In the first, in the first trial, the reason I know the one jury that voted guilty was because she is the only one, when the jurors came out, that had a very upset look on her face, as she was the foreman. The other jurors came in and nodded at me and smiled in agreement and were very happy when they left. The foreperson was the only one that was upset. Number 3, since this idiot wants to try to get into details, why they since this idiot wants to get into the details why they didn't give you the details on what happened in the second trial as to why I was found guilty when 24 days before I was found not guilty, but they don't want the people to know that the demonic judge, Siegel, prevented me from putting in the same evidence. I was able to put in the first trial. In other words, putting in the same evidence I was able to put in the first trial in the second trial, and forbid me to ask the same questions. And when I attempted to do it anyway, he would cut me off and instruct the jury to disregard. That's how they convicted Charles Dyer. They had to have 3 trials to convict Charles Dyer, and they learn what influences the jury, and they prevent the defendant from putting forward exculpatory information. And it's basically like going into the boxing ring and boxing with somebody and you keep losing. Or they put a shock collar on you like they did Jeffrey Winehouse. So when you keep losing the boxing match, because you're the referee and you control the stadium, you have to tie the hands up of the person you're boxing so that he becomes defenseless, and then you can finally win the trial. And that's what they do. And even if it takes them multiple attempts, that's what they do. He goes on to say, number 4, I was not in charge. Would you mind answering this, sweetie pie? Shoot. Well, I tell you, I'm just not going to answer. Well, I've got to finish this. Let's hold on just one.
Hello.
Okay, it was garbage. We get so many garbage phone calls. Sorry about that. We're trying to deal with real life here and have a prison ministry, and you guys just bear with us. Okay, let's go on to number 4. I was not charged with bank fraud nor mortgage fraud, but mail and wire fraud, because those are the 2 charges they can charge anyone with, even without there being any fraud committed. Wow, that's very powerful, because, you know, when they charge you with bank fraud and mortgage fraud, you know what, let me read that again. I was not charged with bank fraud nor mortgage fraud, but mail and wire fraud, because those are the 2 charges that they can charge anyone with, even without there being any fraud committed. Yeah, wire fraud and mail fraud, I think, is how they got Kurt Johnson too. And possibly Ken Hovind. It's a very, because he mailed to Liz Pendence. It's very vague, and they feel like they can convince the jury and paint a really nasty story in the courtroom to make the jury think he did something really bad. Okay, Anthony goes on to point 5. Then the audacity to say that I never won a court case even is quite let me read that again. I'm so sorry. I messed up. Then the audacity to say that I have never won a court case ever is quite laughable. When you just in 2014, I won my case when I was falsely charged with rape and child molestation when the FBI tried to fake my fingerprints to make me the perpetrator. You have seen the video of the extradition hearing under FBI Hawaii conspiracy. I have also had charges dropped or dismissed against me for criminal impersonation of a police officer, unlicensed mortgage broker, fraudulent simulation of legal process, threatening a public official, eavesdropping, because I recorded the inside of the judge's manager's office, but they had to drop it because it's public domain. What idiots. They have constantly tried to charge me with a litany of bogus charges, and finally realized that everything that I do is lawful, so their trump card is mail and wire fraud. If you read the indictment and then the 32 counts they charge me with, nothing in the indictment has to do with the emails or mails that they are saying misrepresented or omitted material facts which defrauded the homeowners, when the very homeowners they claim I defrauded have signed sworn affidavits that I did not defraud them, and that these charges against me are malicious and filed only to retaliate against me for exposing their corruption. And if you stand up and you go against the banks who control these mortgages and want the people to be under financial tyranny, you're going to get targeted. And that's why they've targeted Anthony Troy Williams. There's no doubt in my mind. As a matter of fact, Dr. Leonard Horowitz told Anthony, if you keep trying to help these people with their mortgages and stand up against the bank, they're going to try to charge you with sex crimes. And that's what they did. But Anthony was not found guilty, and he prevailed, and he proved that it was a setup by the FBI. Now let's go on to point number 6. You have talked to one of my clients. That's true. I talked to Rosie. I interviewed Rosie. It's on Anthony's webpage, who I have kept in her home through foreclosure since 2013. And she can verify others that I have done the same for. There is no trail of homeowners who have lost anything because of me, as can be verified by there is not being one complaint against me from any homeowners that I defrauded them or made them lose anything. I have over 500 clients where all of my... Oh shoot, I got a phone call from a prisoner. We're gonna have to stop, and I'll pick this up. I gotta take this. All right, peace and blessings. We're gonna pick up, and we had to deal with that phone call. Let's pick it up again. Okay, there not being one complaint against me from any homeowners that I defrauded them or made them lose anything. I have over 500 clients where are all those complaints, and which one of them lost everything because of me. The reason they are so mad is because I proved that the FBI is in collusion with the bank fraud and turning a blind eye to what these banks are doing to homeowners. And I even had the homeowners themselves go to the FBI office and make complaints showing them the documented evidence of the fraud, and the FBI did nothing because they are getting bribes from the banks not to do anything. I think that's very powerful, and I'm not surprised by that one bit. Did you know that the FBI can go to your bank and ask for all of your information and your transactions and all the details of your banking account, and the bank is obligated to give it to the FBI, and yet they will not tell you that happened? Your bank is a traitor to you. They are not operating in your best interest. Let me go to number 7. Number 7 point by Anthony Troy Williams. Send this response to this idiot and tell them to send you the names of the homeowners that will give a sworn statement that they lost everything because of me. Good luck in finding one. LOL exclamation point. Number 8. The second reason that I know that this is a prosecutor, because nobody knows that another 2 terabytes of data Nobody knows that another 2 terabytes of data into the discovery have been introduced because they haven't even supplied it to me yet. And that's not public information, exclamation point. This lets me know exactly who this is. This is none other than those devils, Greg Paris Yates and Ronald G. Johnson. Yates' real email address is Greg G. Yates, YATES @yahoo.com. So send a copy of this reply to that email address also. Number 9. My mother will never see the inside of a cell again. My mother did not request a continuance, but her satanic lawyer in collusion with the government did, because he claims because of his other case involving the Keolahas, it will not be feasible to be ready for trial. This was just another ploy to continue to keep me incarcerated because they know exactly what's going to happen once I am released. Also, he failed to mention that the government's filed a bogus mental competency motion before that, which canceled the December 16, 2018 trial date, but he conveniently forgot to mention that. Both of those prosecutors are going to pay severely for what they put my mom through just to spite me. These satanic people will go after your mother. They will go after your wife, and they will go after your children. We have seen a pattern of that, and Anthony is revealing that right here in point number 9. We're going to move on to number 10. How are you exploiting convicts for PayPal donations when you expressly made it known that you don't do that? These devils will do and say anything to try to discredit the good ministry and work that you and Aaron are doing. You didn't have to do a website for me at your own expense, send me copies at your own expense, and take the time without getting paid to assist those of us who are innocent and fighting this corrupt system. Those are some nice words from Anthony, and I appreciate that. I didn't ask him to say that, and I appreciate that he can see through the lies that they're saying about my ministry and my wife. He goes on to write, idiots like these only empower me the more to make sure that they get exactly what they deserve. Oh, just a little message for Greg, and he will understand this. 583 is not a mystery. LOL. Thanks, brother. All right, that's a letter from Anthony Troy Williams, who I consider a brother in the Lord. I consider him an innocent political prisoner targeted for his beliefs. We've got a webpage. If you go to Year of Jubilee, Jubilee spelled with one E, just like it's spelled in the King James Bible, go to Anthony's page and you can see videos with Anthony. You can learn about Anthony. You can download documents relating to Anthony. I can tell you there is a team of slanderous jackals and hyenas that have came against Anthony because they are terrified of this man, and they will do anything to keep him incarcerated as long as they can. I wouldn't doubt it if they're trying to kill him. Please keep Anthony in your prayers, and I encourage you to write an encouraging letter to Anthony in a Hawaii federal prison. His mailing address is on the front page of our website. Thank you for your time.